Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor S.P. Singh from Faculty of Management Studies, Gurukul Kangadi University, Haridwar. Today we are going to study Module 2 on an evolution of human resource management. The field of human resource management has passed through several stages of evolution. Industrial revolution from the late of 18th century to the second half of the 20th century wholly changed the way people earned their living and replaced human effort and skill by the work of machine. The Hawthorne studies emphasize the importance of informal groups in increasing the productivity. The scientific management put forward a new attitude towards management and contributed greatly to the formalization and specialization of management based on clearly defined laws, rules and principles. Human relations movement and employee motivation strengthened the process of employees' need identification and motivation, job enrichment and job enlargement. Behavioral scientists and management practitioners investigated the concepts like job enrichment and job enlargement to enhance workers' commitment. Job of sources satisfaction, where the HR approach assumed that the job itself is the basic source of satisfaction and motivation to employees. Individual involvement, the HR approach emphasized on the individual involvement in the decisions made in the organization. The challenges today for HR managers are in the recognition of talent and nourish it with great care to achieve significant gains in productivity. The Industrial Revolution took place in different countries from the late of 18th century to the second half of the 20th century. Industrialization wholly changed the way people earned their living and replaced human effort by the work of machine. The Industrial Revolution brought with it the factory system based on wage labor and fixed capital, created centralized workplaces and brought unrelated people together. The factory system brought several changes in the organization of industry. It put out the self-employment, household and handicraft workers. The factory system brought together many workers with no ownership of means of production and no other way to earn a living. It created rationalization and specialization of work. The factory system necessitated supervising large number of workers and administered autocratic personnel policies. Labor was considered a commodity and aimed to maximize the employer's profits. The factory system focused upon materials, markets and production. It totally neglected human effort. In fact, the informal groups in the organization had the influence on the employees' behavior and productivity. The researchers ultimately concluded that the collective decision of the members of informal groups influenced the performance of workers. Scientific management dealt with labor and management inefficiencies through reorganization of production processes and removal of unreasonable elements of work. Taylor was concerned with worker inefficiency and the need for managers to acquire the cooperative achievement of the employees, disintegrating the elements of job, removing unnecessary motions and timing in the tasks, aimed to discover the method and the least time a worker could perform a particular task. Time and motion studies got in the center of scientific management. It found out a way of precisely fixing the amount of work a man could do. Scientific management is based on scientific systems. It breaks down work into tiny mechanical elements and arrange them again into their most efficient combination. Scientific management advocated for a differential piece rate system to provide an incentive to employees to observe the detailed procedures. Scientific management constituted a drastic change in the attitude of workers and managers and demonstrated a fresh attitude towards management. Taylor argued that management is a true science based on clearly defined laws, rules, and principles. It had an enduring, the scientific management had an undue engineering bias for the job to the neglect of the worker. It looked upon worker as a cog in the machine and saw no need to incorporate human factors in its system. The scientific management considered the worker as complete economic man motivated to maximize his economic gain to the neglect of the basic social and psychological motives of employees. Human relations movement and employee motivation gathered momentum during this period. Several theories underlying the importance of human relations movement were developed during this period. For instance, Theory X and Theory Y of Douglas MacGregor advocated the significance of participative approach to decision making. Similarly, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory strengthened the process of employees' need identification and motivation. During this period, behavioral scientists and management practitioners investigated the concepts like job enrichment and job enlargement to enhance workers' commitment and reduce job monotony. Besides, organizations demonstrated more interest in conducting organizational level collective bargaining with unions and in a gradual manner dissuaded the practice of participating at national level. Collective bargaining negotiations through employer federations. These developments really increased the importance of personnel department for an organization. In fact, firms began to rely on personnel managers for developing industrial relations policies and also for successfully conducting collective bargaining negotiations. During the early 60s, the pet milk theory of human relationships advocating that human workers are productive workers had been largely rejected. The researchers recognized the fact that workers are unique and complex in their own way in respect of individual differences and individual needs with different wants, needs and values. What motivates one employee may not prove to be a motivating factor for another, and being happy may have little or no influence on the productivity of other employees. The HR approach presumed that the job of the task itself is the basic source of satisfaction and motivation to employees. The HR approach emphasized on involvement of the individual in decisions made in the organization. Additionally, this approach laid stress on the following points. Individuals do not inherently dislike work, but if they help establish objectives, they want to achieve them. Most people can exercise a great deal more self-direction, control from within, and creativity than are needed for their ongoing jobs. The manager's basic job is to utilize the untapped human potential in the service of the organization. The manager should create a healthy environment wherein all subordinates contribute to the best of their capacities. The environment provide a healthy, safe, comfortable and convenient place to work. The manager should provide for self-direction by the subordinates, and they need be motivated to participate entirely in all important matters. Expanding subordinates' influence, self-direction and self-control will result in improvement in operative efficiency. Work satisfaction may improve as subordinates make full use of their potential. The approach focuses on gaining a competitive advantage in work through human resources. To overcome the challenges arising out of increased competition, organizations undertook radical change in their HR policies and procedures within the intention to increase their employees' efficiency and loyalty, developing HR strategies, aligning them with strategy at the corporate level and effective achievement of organizational goals. Modern organizations tend to keep few hierarchies and more dynamic HR policies. They constantly carry out organizational changes by adopting measures like total quality management, re-engineering business processes, performance management, development of learning organization, and constantly revamping their work culture. In addition, organizations are adding global dimension to HR management. They are now focused more on fine-tuning their HR policies and practices to effectively supervise and control employees working across national boundaries. Due to the increased globalization of business, international human resource management is gradually gaining importance in organizations. Development of a strategy is a significant step from the point of view of optimum utilization of human resources. A strategic use of human resources is the sole responsibility of the top management in order to achieve its goals. Therefore, once a well-defined strategy is formulated, a stage is set for harmonizing HR planning with corporate strategic planning. So, the significant areas of acquisition, assignment, reward, as well as development are properly aligned to the corporate plan of the business. Strategic approach to HRM is very necessary for strategic HRM issues like organizational culture, resourcing of employees, and their development for the ultimate development of the organization. HRM plays a central role in creating competitive advantage for the organization. It requires that subsystems of HRM selection, reward, and incentive systems and training must support each other. Strategic use of HRM primarily focuses on development of people to improve the organizational performance. Critics say that organizational performance is not only a function of competent human resource but also of the dynamic, fast-paced market forces and the changes in the government policies, technology, as well as employers' contract of employment. The HR are only one factor of production, and therefore the other factors of production may have a more significant impact on organizational performance. Human resource alone cannot be expected to achieve business goals. Its role must be understood in the correct respect. The challenges of HR managers today is to recognize the talent and nourish it with caution to achieve significant gains in productivity over a period of time. Proactive approach in order to create value continuously for the organization and maintain competitive advantage. Organizations must proactively manage its human capital, including identifying, selective, developing and retraining capable employees who demonstrate skills and realize more productivity and earn higher incomes. High achievement, thus the achievement of these employees encourage others for high achievement. Furthermore, organizations should be alert in investing in employees based on the contribution of their current and projected company. Talent is higher than average giftedness towards a task with which an employee creates added value in his or her work. High level of competence. Talented employees consistently show high level of competence in the areas of activity that strongly suggest transferable, comparable skill in situations where they are yet to be tested and proved to be very effective. Talented people cause a difference to organizational performance through their immediate contribution and in the long term indicating a higher level of their potential. In order to strategically manage talents, organizations should adopt a holistic approach involving a process of linking organizational strategy with a clear talent management strategy. Talented organizations are adept at defining talent needs, various discoveries of talent resources, the development of individual and collective talents of the organization, deployment of talent in ways that engage people to achieve objectives. When these talent management skills are highly integrated in line with the business strategy of the organization and embedded in its operations, it constitutes a particular organizational capability and a sustainable source of competitive advantage. Human resource management has an important and crucial role to play in organizations in the new economy. The role of the HR management has changed in response to the environment depending on the social, economic, political conditions and advances in technology, and it is still developing dynamically. The relative importance of many activities has changed from the external environment affecting the needs of organizations, and it is still a dynamic area where methods of organizing the HR function change and evolve. This can help us to understand the diversity of roles that have in the organization. The most important roles are to review current issues that will consider the development of human resources in the future. To fulfill this role, organizations will need to assess their existing human resources focused to skilled human resources with the best. Thus, in this module, we have studied the evolution of human resource management in different stages. Thanks for visiting EPG Pathshala.